We're live from Schaefer Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. ABC's NFL Monday Night Football. The Denver Broncos against the New England Patriots.
That's the crowd as you see it at Schaefer Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. Hello again, everyone. Denver against New England. Traditionally, these two teams play a high-scoring game. We hope to have one for you tonight. Denver struggling against a taxing schedule and struggling after its first 3 games, hoping to come alive. New England, a very important game for the Pats because a win tonight keeps them tied with Miami and staying only a game behind the astonishing Buffalo Bills. Under any circumstances, the Pats thus far this year troubled internally. 4 holdouts. Sam Bam Cunningham is still away. He's up for grabs. So is an underrated but very solid quarterback, Tom Owen. But back and to see action tonight, activated as recently as 4 p.m. Eastern Time today, the great cornerback, number 40, Mike Haynes, and the slashing nose tackle, number 64, Richard Bishop. To fill you in further on the Pats, here is the ineffable Frank Gifford.
You are amazing, Coach. Yesterday, London, tonight, Boston, Las Vegas on Thursday, and then, of course, Chicago next Monday night.
A bottle in my head.
In the Smithsonian. The Patriots, led by Steve Grogan, who's playing the kind of football the Patriots thought he could play since they drafted him back in 1975. He can do it all, but he's been erratic over the past few years. He is the leading passer in the AFC after 3 games, coming into tonight's game. And he has some great, outstanding receivers out on the outside. Of course, Harold Jackson, you know him. He's been around 13 years, but Stanley Morgan, number 86 for the Patriots, is developing into one of the great deep threats in pro football today. He's caught 7 passes thus far this season, 4 of them for touchdowns, 2 of them last week, 68 and 40 yards against Seattle, and he was a key factor in that game. New England chasing Buffalo, of course, in the AFC East, and they know they're going to have a chase on their hands because Buffalo is 4-0. Denver, well, they have San Diego in their division. San Diego is 4-0. Right now, Denver is 1-2. Man who's never 1-2. The Dandy Men. Dandy Don.
That's right. You're right. Howard, they've had a real tough schedule. You know, when Matt Robinson came to Denver, he was, a lot of folks were referring to him as the Messiah. He's going to lead them back to the Super Bowl. Well, the Messiah's had some trouble. That's a tough schedule. He's also coming into tonight's game with only 4 healthy running backs, and that's not going to help a lot. You know, it's kind of incredible that a guy could play 3 ball games in the NFL and not throw a touchdown pass. Well, he hasn't done that yet. He's a good runner. We may see a lot of that tonight. But if he doesn't get the ball in the air, it's always good to know that somewhere standing back there in the wings is the ever-reliable Craig Morton. And Craig is still around. He's noted as maybe the most pure passer on the team, but the leader, at least for tonight, is their quarterback, the new offensive captain, Matt Robinson. And Frank's going to get us kicked off. Frank, let's get it going.
All right, set to go. It appears we'll be close to a sellout crowd here in New England. The game was not sold out 72 hours before. Consequently, there is a television blackout in the area. And as you can see, the Denver Broncos have won the toss and set to kick off. Will be Mike Hubach. He does the kicking for place kicker John Smith and dropping deep for Denver. Looking back down at the goal line, Larry Brunson recently picked up there. He's been around for some time, led the league last year, actually, with Oakland, returning kicks. And, of course, he is in there because tonight the Denver Broncos had to put Dave Preston on injured reserve, so he will not see action tonight. We're set to go. New England is 2-1 thus far in the season. Denver is 1-2. Hubach hits it. It is taken by Brunson at the 4-yard line, and Brunson flips for the wedge and gets out over the 20-yard line and piled up there. Enthusiastic crowd here tonight. And let's meet the offensive unit for the Denver Broncos. The quarterback, Matt Robinson, who came this last year in a trade from the New York Jets. They are hurting in the running back area. Out on the wide post, it will be Haven Moses. And, of course, Rick Upchurch, dangerous from anywhere. There is your offensive line. Set to go. They mark it at the 20-yard line. Denver's first possession. Matt Robinson brings them up last week. He suffered a telling blow. 4 interceptions against San Diego, and they exploited almost all of them, beating Denver 30-13. They need to bounce back tonight. Handoff. Otis Armstrong in there for an injured Dave Preston. Of course, Otis Armstrong, a great performer over the years, off and on for the Broncos. He's now in his 8th year. There is your defensive unit. That will be enhanced considerably by the return of Richard Bishop, although he will only see spot duty tonight. Those are your linebackers. Watch Steve Nelson, number 57. And there they are, the secondary made up all of number 1 draft picks. And when they bring Mark Haynes in tonight as the 5th man on the nickel, they will be 5 of the men, all number 1 picks. Armstrong with a 5-yard pickup, 2nd down and 5. Robinson hands off Armstrong. Big opening. Armstrong out over the 40-yard line. He'll have the first down. Bobbles the ball. And they say no, they'll bring it back. Armstrong was down at the 40. Hit there by Tim Fox. It'll be first down Denver, and they'll mark it at the 41-yard line. There he is, a great All-American at Purdue. Back a few years ago, he led the National Football League in rushing. In 74, as a matter of fact, with 1,407 yards. And let's look at the quickness again.
He just stopped and rides the line, Frank. A little delayed draw. Big hole right there. You get an idea when you see a hole that big that somebody may have made a mistake on the defense. Fumble was occurred after he was down.
Again, the first and 10 at the 41-yard line of the Denver Broncos. We're just underway in New England. Inside handoff, Armstrong, the workhorse thus far. He's out of the 45, close to the 46, a gain of 4. It'll be second down and 6. Hit there by Rod Schote. And, of course, Red Miller looking on. He's an intense coach.
He is that. He was very unhappy with the play on the left side of his offensive line last week. Made no bones about it, talking of studded and classic. Right now, they've been running to the left side and effectively.
Miller in his 4th year now. He's taken the Broncos to the playoffs and the Super Bowl. Inside handoff. This is the big man. This is Jim Jensen, who has been the workhorse thus far for the Denver Broncos this year. Short of the first down out near midfield. It'll be third and about a yard and a half.
Jeff, that's the guy that Miller was delighted with last week. Jensen, you'll remember him as the big kid from Iowa who so impressed Landry and the Cowboys some years back. They didn't have room for him. That's the way Denver got him. And he is a fine all-purpose athlete whom Miller feels is coming into his prime now.
He is a good one. Had a knee injury.
Third down, a yard and a half. The 2 tight ends are in. That means 85 Ron Egloff comes in for dinner, and they've been short yardage. Jensen gets the call, and he tries to surge for the first down. This will depend upon where they mark it. He was close. Steve Nelson in there at the bottom of that pile, as he generally is. Mel Lunsford sliding over. Hamilton. And I believe they're going to mark it short of the first down. That means it'll be 4th down. And Otis Armstrong comes back out for the Denver Broncos on 4th and short. And that would indicate that they were going to run. And now they send out the punting unit, and that means it will be Luke Crutchridge.
We saw that kid come up, Don. He's from Texas, a free agent from Baylor.
Yeah. He loves it up in that real thin air in Denver, man. He says, I can get that ball up in the air, and it just sails on me. Not down like in Waco.
There's Roland James, first-round draft pick out of Tennessee. Dropping deep. He was spectacular returning punts in preseason. Crutchridge aims it for the corner.
Boy.
Doesn't get it into the end zone. Touchback. It'll come out to the 20. And a 49-yard punt by Luke Crutchridge. And now we will see the New England offense. It's been hot. They've scored over 30 points in each of the 3 previous games. They're 2-1. They'll have possession when we come back. Last year, a troubled offseason for Earhart. We spoke about that at the top of the show, the holdout situation. The 2 of the key performers are back. Mike Haynes, the all-pro cornerback for the last 4 years, is back. He'll see spot duty tonight, as is Richard Bishop. Still unsigned, of course, Tom Owen, the quarterback, and Sam Bam Cunningham. First and 10, the New England Patriots have the ball, their own 20-yard line, following the touchback. Rogan, the quarterback, in there with Vegas Ferguson and Don Calhoun as setbacks. And this will be Vegas Ferguson, the first-year man out of Notre Dame. You see the flag goes down as Ferguson tries to turn it upfield, scrambles for a yard and a half. But again, the flag is down. Reuben Carter sliding out there from the nose position to make the stop, along with Barney Chavis, the defensive left end for the Denver Broncos. Our referee tonight is Red Cashion. There'll be a motion, and it's called against the New England Patriots. And while they mark it off, let's meet the offense with Steve Grogan, the quarterback, of course. Vegas Ferguson, the rookie all-time rushing leader for Notre Dame. The wide receivers, and they are a package. 29, Harold Jackson and Stanley Morgan. Morgan, of course, with that blazing speed. 4 touchdowns and 7 receptions. Good offensive line. We'll see.
Number 18 on the offense. Penalty is declined. It'll be second down.
We'll see many changes in there, but we'll keep you posted. You heard the call of Red. The penalty declined because of lack of yardage on the first offensive play by Vegas Ferguson. Second down and 8. The Broncos with a lot of confidence in the defense, although it has not been playing this year as it has in past years. Second down and 8. Ball inside the 22-yard line of New England. That's big Russ Francis, 81, in motion. Calhoun gets the call. And cuts back. And Calhoun out over the 25 to the 26-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 4. Defensively, Denver will stay in their 3-4 much of the time. They might slip into a 4-3 and bring in Don Latimer to go with that 3 you just saw. The linebackers, well, Randy Gradishar, Jackson, Rizzo, and Nairn are in there. They would like to have Bob Swinson, who means so much to this defensive unit of Denver, but he cannot come back until after tonight's game. He's been on the injured reserve with a broken arm. Bob Swinson. So it's Nairn for Swinson tonight. Andy Johnson and Chuck Foreman come in as they do in the passing situation for New England. Grogan down. Grogan down by a blitzing Tom Jackson, the speedy little outside linebacker for Denver, who at times appears to be all over the field.
Now that's what Denver has not been doing so far this year, the way they did it in past years. That familiar swarming defense with the linebackers all over the place, particularly Gradishar and Jackson.
That is only their 3rd sack of the year. This is Mike Hubach. Rick Upchurch is deep. Hubach takes it low. Upchurch, a dangerous return man. Takes it to midfield and gets to the 45-yard line before he's buried by the defensive unit of New England. They'll mark it close to the 44-yard line. Hustling down there first was Bob Golick for the New England Patriots. So Denver will have good field position. They'll be at the 44-yard line of New England. And we'll be back in a moment. Schaefer Stadium, Foxborough. The New England Patriots, the Denver Broncos. The Broncos, good field position. They have the ball at New England's 44-yard line. Matt Robinson brings it up. Hands off to Jensen, and Jensen finds an opening over on the left side. Gets inside the 40-yard line. Met there by John Zamberlin and Rod Choate defensively for New England. A pickup of 6. It'll be 2nd down and 4.
Interesting, isn't it, Don? They continue to run left.
Well, it is interesting that they're running left. And you could say a couple of reasons. You mentioned a while ago they were a little bit upset with that Studdard and Vlasic as of last week. Maybe they've found some way to inspire that work or that side. What do you think? Inspiration.
Robinson puts Moses in motion, goes with the draw play to Jensen. Bounces at the line of scrimmage and surges forward. For a couple of yards, it'll be 3rd down and 2. Steve Nelson in there initially on the stop. You can see at the bottom of the pile, John Zamberlin and the big nose man, Ray Hamilton.
Oh, Sugar Bear.
You know, it is 106th consecutive game tonight.
I do think it's funny. What's that, Frank? I'm sorry. I jumped in there again. What's that? He started how many games?
106.
106. That'll way to go, Sugar Bear.
3rd down and short yardage. Robinson won't hesitate to run with it himself. He is an excellent scrambler.
Moses is right. Rick Upchurch, top of your screen. Those are the receivers. Otis Armstrong gets the call. Armstrong turns the corner, has the first down and more. And he turns on that burst of speed, and he can really accelerate. He gets down to the 16-yard line. Ray Claiborne upsets him there. 1st down, Denver.
I want to tell you, number 85, Ron Egloff, Dandy, as you call this in replay, watch his downfield block.
Egloff is right out there. It looks to me that Nelson got tied up from his linebacker position, couldn't get over. A fairly good block by Haven. He's not going to hurt anybody real bad with his block. But you see big number 65 that came out. He was out there in front of him, too. That's Glenn Hyde. He had a good block.
It was Glenn Hyde, not Egloff. I misread the number.
Easy to do from up here.
On the 1st down, Hamilton jumps off sides, and that'll be marked off against New England, unless he should be drawn off, and I think he was.
They say, man, he was quick.
Procedure call going against Denver. Hamilton drawn offside. That will make it 1st down and 15. Defensively overall thus far, Denver is 13 in the AFC.
False start. Number 64 on the offense. Still 1st down.
That, of course, Bill Bryan, the center. Offensively, Denver overall 9th in the AFC after 3 games. Neither team has thrown the ball thus far. On 1st and 15, again, they stay on the ground. Handoff Otis Armstrong, and Otis scrambles and works his way down to about the 18-yard line. For a gain of 3, it'll be 2nd down and 12.
He really picked that yardage.
You see Tim Fox, 48, coming there. Fox is the guy that's known as a real hitter back in the secondary. And he's not very big, and he gets hurt a lot. We were talking to some of their PR people today. They said it seems like every 3 or 4 plays they scrape Fox up off the ground, put him back out from the sideline for a little while. He comes back and hits again.
Changes strategically for both teams. Rob Lytle comes in. He's a good receiver for Denver. And they call him Mac the Sack. Tony McGee comes in for Mel Lunsford at defensive end, as he so often does. And New England drops into a 4-3. Second down and 12. Ball at the 13-yard line of New England. Robinson to the air.
Right in there.
Fires a strike over the middle. It's complete to Haven Moses. Touchdown, Denver. And I'll tell you, that was right on the money. And it's good to see Robinson after last week with the 4 interceptions come back like that.
His first touchdown of the year. That's super. That was right on the money, too, Frank. You're right. A well-thrown ball in between some secondary people right there.
As you look at the receiver here, Haven, Robinson throwing to him has an extra motivation tonight, Tandy. He's on national television, and he wants to show the country what he can do. He still resents the way he was treated in New York by the Jets.
The hottest foot in the West. Steinford puts it through for Denver. And Denver is on the scoreboard. They lead 7-0 with 7:39 remaining here in the first quarter. First pass of the ball game. 6 points for Denver. We'll be right back. Matt Robinson has hit Haven Moses. Denver out in front 7-0. Set to kick off. Fred Steinford. Horace Ivory is deep for New England, and they try to keep it away from Ivory. He has been so hot, particularly against Seattle, and the ball goes to Courier, and Courier gets up out over the 30 to the 33-yard line. So it'll be second possession now for the New England Patriots.
They kicked it correctly. Ivory picked up 150 yards kick running in that last game, Frank.
And the first time Horace Ivory has returned kickoffs as a professional. This is his 4th year.
I just never figured how you train guys to do that. You know, I mean, some of them just seem to be able to do it real well. They must
put them on a freeway and in the blindfold. That's the best way to train them.
Say, doesn't that feel good, son?
First down, New England. Look out, Calhoun. And he gets back almost to the line of scrimmage. Might have got a yard. Ran into one Bronco right in the middle of the backfield there, coming across the line of scrimmage.
Oh, Bryson Manor made some good penetration across the line, kind of blocked it up in the backfield and never got that thing started. Calhoun never got any speed going before he got up to the line of scrimmage, so consequently didn't make much yardage.
Bryson Manor is another guy Miller hasn't been happy with. He gets no pass rush from him. Alzado is gone.
Well, now when Alzado was there, they had, how many of them, I shouldn't talk about numbers when I don't know them, but I know they dropped off an awful lot the year Alzado left in total number of sacks.
On second down and 8, Grogan to the air, dumps it out into the flat. It goes to Vegas Ferguson, and Ferguson hurdles forward to the 40-yard line, short of the first down. It'll be third down and 3 out there.
Dandy, you didn't do the preseason game with us up here against Philadelphia when we got our first look at Ferguson as a professional. He is much like the younger Chuck Foreman. He gets yardage that you don't think is there to get, and somehow he gets more yardage than you think can be gotten out of the play. He's a very deceptively efficient ball player.
That's probably why they brought Chuck Foreman in up here so that Vegas could see him every day.
All right, third down and 3. The ball right at the 40-yard line. Francis in motion, and Grogan will put it up again. Again, has to dump it off. It's Ferguson again. He'll get the first down easy as he maneuvers down to the 50-yard line. It'll be marked at midfield. First down, New England. And I'll tell you, I was with you, Howard, and we both remarked what quickness this man has. And obviously he can catch the football, but then again, if you think back about the great career he had at Notre Dame, rushed for over 3,400 yards there. Well, he's just one of those special backs, not too large.
Very durable, Giff. Very durable.
Oh, yes, he is.
I like what Grogan's doing so far right now. He's going to bring those linebackers up, or he's going to keep hitting Ferguson. He says, I'm going to just throw it out there short. Linebackers are getting good deep drops.
Harold Jackson in motion. Vegas Ferguson, and again, cuts back to the inside, and that's good running.
That was a small hole there. I see what you're talking about.
5 yards at a time. You know, when you think there are only 2 to be gotten, he will get the extra.
Pick up a 5. It'll be second down and 5.
Remember, Don, if you look at the record, these teams traditionally play high-scoring games, and we're ready for one, I'll tell you.
All right.
2 fine cornerbacks for Denver. Louis Wright out of the left corner, Steve Foley on the right corner. Bill They'll need to be tonight because there are two splendid wide receivers from New England, Harold Jackson and Stanley Morgan. Second down at 5. Russ Francis in motion. This is Calhoun, and again Calhoun is met behind the line of scrimmage. First it was Reuben Carter, and this time he does not get back to the line of scrimmage. There'll be a loss of a yard. It'll be 3rd down and 6.
Sometimes you wonder, Reuben Carter's from Miami, so is another great top draft choice of the Broncos, Don Latimer. Now, Frank, you were saying today you don't think Denver really has the personnel to play the 34 defense. Why?
Not so much that they don't have it. I think they have the super personnel to play a 4-3 where they could get Latimer in there more.
And that's what point I was leading to. Latimer would be in there, also from Miami.
And now they go to their 4-3 on 3rd and 6. Drove in and wide open is Morgan. He'll have the first down inside the 25-yard line. And Louis Wright was covering him man for man. Louis Wright with great speed, but he knows that you have got to respect Stanley Morgan, one of the best in the league, and getting better.
Hey, you can see Jackson come in the linebacker. You got a little linebacker blitz, man-to-man, but you're right. That ball was also well thrown. Grogan has thrown 3 but a bit short, but that was a well-run route. Louis Wright couldn't cover him much better than that. You want to protect that deep pass, because you got Stanley Morgan coming out there with the speed that we talked about earlier. You're going to respect that.
We hit it on the head, too, Don. 2 times before, Grogan looked for Morgan, put it in the flat. The linebackers had laid off. That time they covered because of the 3rd and 6, and Morgan was open. Harold Jackson in motion. Vegas Ferguson following Calhoun. Big opening. Ferguson down to the 12-yard line. Just exploded through there.
How do you like my boy from Notre Dame, huh? He's terrific. Another thing, I got to tell you a funny story, Frank. You had left after lunch. I was sitting with Stanley Morgan. I was talking about what Louis Wright might do to him because Louis is all-pro every year. He said in this league, once a guy makes Pro Bowl, they name him automatically every year. Wright will have no chance against me.
Morgan, of course.
Did he really say that?
Morgan also was in the Pro Bowl. So he'll be automatic from now on. Harold Jackson in motion. Vegas Ferguson. Calhoun out in front again. Throws John Hanna. Hanna with a superb block. As Ferguson takes it down to the 6-yard line. A big John Hanna, number 73, and he might be the best in the business at the guard position. Got a super block for Ferguson.
And he seems to be happy here now after the great Hannah Gray walkout of a couple of years back.
Hard to believe that a guy 6'6" and he's trimmed down to about 265. I'm talking about Hanna. He used to play like 285, and of course he's got good speed.
There was a game of 5. It'll be 2nd down and 5. They mark it inside the 7-yard line of Denver. Denver, of course, out in front, 7-0 in New England. Threatening. Here's Ferguson again. Good defensive play. Hustling out there, Rob Nairn, that left defensive linebacker.
Was a good defensive play.
It was.
His feet. The blockers usually try to get on top of linebackers' feet. He played him off well with his hands.
It was a big play. In fact, we raised that very point in a meeting this morning. That's where they so miss Swenson, because he's known as a big play guy. And Nairn doesn't usually execute the big play, though he's a reasonably consistent player. Just there, a big play.
Now for New England on 3rd down and long, 3rd down and 8. They can get a first down inside the 2. They bring in Andy Johnson, number 32, and Chuck Foreman, number 22. Both good receivers. Grogan puts them all in the pattern. Fires in the end zone intended for Russ Francis. Incomplete.
That was really unusual defensive coverage. They had 3 backs out with Francis. And was that Jackson, I guess, out there? Trying to get him on a down-and-end move. He had Jackson come in on a motion route. You see, going back to the outside. However, that was not Jackson. That was Chuck Foreman, I'm sorry. They're trying to come through on a down-end move. They had 3 defensive backs.
Rob Nairn back
Once
there.
again.
Yeah. Russ Francis, and we are going to see John Smith. He is 5 of 6 thus far in this young season. His counterpart, Steinfort, with Denver, is 6 of 6. 26-yard attempt for John Smith.
He got it.
New England is on the scoreboard. They have 1:27 remaining in the first quarter, a rapidly paced first quarter. And Denver is out in front 7-3. We'll be back at Schaefer Stadium right after this message. Years ago, then he went to Kansas City, went to New England. Now he's then went to Oakland, and they just activated him once again at Denver. And set to kick is Mike Lubach.
He took the long way home.
Lubach aims it high, and this will be Brunson at the goal line. He bobbles it for a moment. Brunson slips at the 20-yard line, gets up to the 21-yard line. And Denver will have their second possession, and they look very crisp in that scoring drive a few moments ago, and they have had trouble hanging up the points. Matt Robinson on his first completion, touchdown. Haven Moses last week against San Diego. As I mentioned, it was a bad day at Black Rock for Matt Robinson, but he's come back with his very first touchdown pass of the young season. Armstrong has carried the ball 50 yards on 5 attempts for Denver thus far. To Jim Jensen, and Jensen met at the line of scrimmage, and that big 230-pound fullback bulls his way for a couple. It'll be second down and 8. Ray Hamilton sliding out there defensively for New England. Scoreboard clock ticking off the final seconds here in the first quarter. Once again, New England 2-1 on this season, chasing Buffalo, who's 4-0 in the Eastern Division of the AFC. Denver 1-2, chasing San Diego, who is 4-0 in the Western Division of the AFC. Second and 8. Otis Armstrong. And Armstrong out over the 25 to the 26-yard line, where it'll be third down and 5. Richard Bishop has come into the ball game. There he is, number 64.
He's from Ohio. I characterized him as a slashing nose tackle, which he is. Very important figure in the New England scheme of things. He thought he was going to be traded to Cleveland during his holdout period. The Browns were after him, but they weren't willing to relinquish that which New England wanted.
And that will be the final play for the Denver Broncos as time expires here in the first quarter. Look at Russ Francis on the phone. And when we come back, Denver will have a third down at 5, the ball at their 26. Facing the sidelines, your old teammate, Craig Morton, Don.
Yeah, he's really not bad, I'll tell you. He's certainly durable. He's been in there for a good long while. You can see those stats. You don't just compile those by just hanging around on the sidelines all the time. He's played some good football, and they hope still have some good football left in him there in Denver. He came in and played quite a bit last week.
Denver with a third down and 5. The ball at their 26-yard line. Jensen and Armstrong. Those are setbacks. To the air, Matt Robinson stays in the pocket. Looks out for Jensen. Incomplete. A flag is down. And we could very well have a holding call. And while we figure out the penalty, we'll take a look at the stats for the first quarter.
Rushing advantage clearly to Denver, noticeably so. Otherwise, they're pretty even. The total yards aren't that far apart, and the time of possession remarkably equal, Don.
Almost the same, as they'd say.
You see the teams changing on the field. Holding call.
Number 70 on the offense. Penalty is declined. It's fourth down.
Dave Studdard holding for Denver. New England wants the football. They decline the penalty. We'll see Luke Prestridge dropping deep. 38, Roland James, the rookie from Tennessee. Good speed, a 13.5 hurdler down there at Tennessee. Prestridge. And it doesn't turn over. Good coverage. James buried into the coverage at the 33-yard line. New England has the football. They bring in Horace Ivory, number 23. He's in there with Don Calhoun as setback. Russ Francis moves in motion on the 1st and 10, and this is Calhoun. Calhoun is buried by Nairn out of the right side. He picks up 3. It'll be second down and 7. Second down and 7. Steve Grogan, who calls most of his own plays, puts Jackson to the right, and then he motions him back left. Play action. Grogan, Francis, and a big tight end struggles to a first down out over the 45 to the 47. It'll be first down, New England. And Francis, by the way, playing with a very sore set of ribs.
That is true, but he is playing, and I tell you, you bring him down one-on-one, you're bringing down a truck. And it was Gradishaw who brought him down.
That's Francis, 6'6", a 242-pounder. He can do it all. And New England very fortunate. They have another fine tight end who filled in when Francis could not play, Don Hasselbeck. He's also big, a 6'7", 245-pounder. On the 1st and 10, Grogan to the air. Over the middle, Ivory.
Oh, that's nice.
Horace Ivory close to a first down, and he leaves the football, and is quickly pounced on there. Moved by Brock, by the center, Pete Brock.
Another ex-first-round draft choice, a super athlete. The Pats have personnel coming out of their ears.
Hey, a lot of this team, Howard, as you well know, made from a Jim Plunkett trade when they got 4 draft picks plus Tom Owen, 2 firsts in 76, a first and a second in 77. They got Pete Brock, Tim Fox, Ray Claiborne, and Horace Ivory.
Not too shabby.
Not too shabby.
Not too shabby.
Plus they got Mike Haynes with their own first. Second and short. Calhoun waits and watches it develop. Gets the first down, but a flag is down.
But that's a good evidence, Don, of, it seems to me, of why Calhoun is so valuable. He's what we call the in-between. He's not big enough for the fullback, yet a little big in the average halfback. You see the call there. And he's quick. Very quick.
Yeah, and he's it's always nice when you've got that guy that's back there that also doesn't mind going up there and blocking every now and then. And Calhoun has done that fairly well in his career, particularly if he's got a guy like Ferguson back there with him. He got a holding call. Is that what that was?
Marked off against New England. Here's the call.
Holding during the run. Number 81 of the offense. Still second down.
All right. Russ Francis. Boy, I'll tell you, they just blurt it right out for everyone.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
You know, leave the players tuck. You can almost pick out the guilty party before they even announce it, because he knows what's coming up. Reminds me of my dog Charles when he's bad.
So Charles at Clarksdale.
Second down and 11 for New England at the 45-yard line. Center Pete Brock, who alternates with Bill Lynn Titus, did not like the shape of the football. Out it goes, and we've got a new pigskin in, which is actually a four-tie. Second down and 11. New England from their own 45. Broken to the air again. Fires over the middle, and it's complete to Calhoun. Calhoun, and he just barrels over Tom Jackson, taking him with him for a first down at the 42-yard line.
I tell you, Grogan looks so different from when we had him in the preseason game, Frank. It's unbelievable. He's picking them apart.
Well, he's moving around rather gingerly on that sore knee, but I do think he is. I was talking to their coaches today. They really feel he's learned his offense really well. They've had a remarkable success under Grogan, really, since he's been the starting quarterback. He took over when Plunkett left. They lost those last five games of that season. But since then, he's had a remarkably good one-loss record.
The first down at the 43-yard line. That's where they mark it, and the handoff to Calhoun. And Calhoun runs quickly into Tom Jackson, who was there first along with Joe Rizzo. Rizzo 59, Jackson 57 defensively there for Denver. Need of about a yard. It'll be second down and 9. Speaking of Grogan, he did not work out with the team until last night. He had the knee aspirated on Monday following last Sunday's come-from-behind victory over Seattle.
Wait a minute. He did what?
Had the knee drain.
Thank you. You said it aspirated, didn't you?
Well, I thought I did.
Good, Frank. It's also
Second and 9.
correct. I know. That's good. I really like that. Almost
Francis in motion. Grogan wants his big tight end, Francis. He's there. And flags are all over as Francis went up at Bernard Jackson. And Bernard Jackson, 6 feet tall. Francis is 6'6".
And I don't think there was any question about that. I think it was visible to all of you, and that's the value of Russ Francis. He's got the speed as well as the size to be the deep threat, which you want in a tight end these days. And second, with that size, he knows how to use it. He's an excellent leaper on top of it.
I'll tell you what he's really good at is getting away from a linebacker. Tight ends, of course, are hounded by the linebackers at the line of scrimmage.
Pass interference by the defense, number 43, first down.
43.
Call is against Steve Foley, but I do believe it's against Bernard Jackson.
That's right.
They can't always get those numbers in the swift-moving part of the action. I'm sure that call was against Jackson. First down goal, New England. They trail 7-3 at the moment, but they are threatening. Ivory lowers his head and barrels down around the 2, and another flag is down. Rob Nairn defensively along with Randy Gradishar. Bill Thompson up from his safety spot, number 36.
Just looking back to that last Grogan pass to Francis.
There's an injured Bronco down on the field.
And we are waiting the call on this flag. But have you ever before seen Grogan lost one the way he did there? He usually always threw bullets, and the observation used to be he had no touch.
That's Joe Rizzo, the injured Bronco, on the artificial turf here in New England, being treated. We'll be back in a moment. Joe Rizzo is the injured Denver Bronco, and Denver, with already Bob Swinson out of the lineup, can ill afford to lose Joe Rizzo. Joe Rizzo, quite a story in this game. Came up as a free agent in '73, and they told him he couldn't pass the physical of Buffalo. He left the Merchant Marine Academy as a free agent. Made the Broncos in '75, and really made it during the '74, rather. Really made it during the players' strike, and he looks like he's testing it rather gingerly. There was a clipping call on the play. We do not know whether it was against Rizzo. Calhoun was called for clipping by New England, and the ball has been moved back to the 21-yard line, where it'll be first down and goal.
There's the importance of this game to New England. As you look at the AFC East, Buffalo all by itself. Chuck Knox, just astonishing. Miami and New England. In the Central, Pittsburgh and Houston going at it. Two punishing teams. You don't need to be told about them. And Cleveland hanging in. In the West, it is San Diego. Yet Denver, with a solid ball club, must have tonight's game. That's the importance of it. But Denver's to stay in the race. They can ill afford the loss of that man, as Frank has told you.
He'll be replaced by Larry Evans. Joe Rizzo will try and get a more complete report on the nature of his injury. Meanwhile, New England has the ball. Following the penalty, the clipping call, they'll have the ball inside Denver's 21-yard line. First down and goal to go. And Grogan puts Jackson out to the left, Morgan to the right. Legis Ferguson, John Calhoun are the setbacks. Firing into the end zone, and Francis off. Francis could not hold on at the back of the end zone.
There's the great youngster from the University of Pittsburgh, Matt Cavanaugh, had a spectacular preseason, and of course is being groomed for the day when ultimately Steve Grogan will give way, as everyone does, even Dandy Don.
That's right. Everybody.
Another penalty indicated against New England. The discussion there, of course, with Randy Gradishar, the acting captain for the Denver Broncos. Probably will move them back, respecting the foot of John Smith, the field goal kicker from New England.
Illegal motion, number 86 on the offense, still first down.
Stanley Morgan, wide receiver, illegal motion. And the ball is now back inside the 26-yard line, first down and goal. We just received word, too, that Horace Ivory has a bruised left shoulder. His status unknown at the moment. Ivory, of course, the New England running back.
Earhart's burned up.
I don't much blame him from a first and goal 5 to the 25. He's going in the wrong direction.
Top of your screen, number 29, Harold Jackson, like Morgan, a dangerous receiver. Morgan hits wide to the right. Denver trying to show blitz. Now they drop out of it. Grogan has the time. Firing for Francis, and he uses all 6 feet 6. Comes down with the football down around the 4-yard line.
That's really the kind of pass you were talking about earlier, is from Grogan's ability, or he seems to have improved in this area, being able to drop that ball over the linebacker's head into his receivers. I believe there's a penalty going on there, rough the passer that time, so they'll put them back down there close to where they were when they started. But I think he really has improved in that area of developing touch. And that's one of, I think, the most difficult things for a passer to learn. It's awfully hard to do. He just has worked very hard. Lay that thing over the linebacker's head. He's a good passer.
Half the distance to the goal on roughing the passer. Here's the call. We'll find out who is responsible.
Roughing the passer. Number 79 on the defense. First down.
Watch Barney Chavis, 79.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the rules that's been changed. It's really a judgment call, but they're really trying to protect that quarterback. And when he lets go of the ball, you've got to say hands off.
And, of course, with the penalty, automatic first down. The ball at the 2-yard line, first and goal. The two tight ends are in now. Francis, 81. Hasselbeck, 80. This will be Ferguson. Vegas Ferguson scores. And New England takes the lead.
That's a different attitude.
It's just amazing what a couple of plays will do. Now Red's over there saying, what happened?
They were all the way back with a first and goal at the 26. One catch in the penalty, and they go in on the next play from the 2-yard line. Steve Grogan, off to his best start of his young career, passing over 60% coming into tonight. 8 touchdowns. And they haven't been dinkers. They've been big ones. Here's John Smith for the conversion for New England. It's good. John Smith has put New England on top with the conversion 10-7. 10:25 remaining here in the first half. We'll be back in a moment. Mike Hubach, the kickoff for New England, who does the kickoff score. John Smith, the field goal. Taken there by Brunson. Short kick. Brunson tries to get to the outside and moves out to the 25-yard line, where Denver will have a first down and 10. There he is, a 5th-round draft pick back in '75. He didn't go any higher because there was a little bit of suspicion that he might have had something wrong with his back at the time. And he came in, took over for an injured Plunkett. Plunkett, of course, traded to San Francisco with, and of course, the players we named earlier all have made up a team of super personnel, the New England Patriots. Grogan is turning into a fine quarterback. Denver at the 25-yard line. Robinson on first down through the air.
Nice
And
throw.
to big Riley Odoms, and Odoms is out over the 45-yard line to the 47. His 9th reception of this young season.
Well, you're seeing two very special tight ends tonight. Riley Odoms, that man is unquestionably the finest athlete on the Denver team, himself a #1 draft choice in the past. And watching Odoms and that great catch by Francis that set up the New England score, you're seeing two of the best there are at what they do, without question. So Dave Casper and Billy Joe Dupree in, too. They're all of the same cut.
Odoms, with 72, his average 38 receptions a year. He gets the first down out of the 47. Robinson again on first down. He likes first down. Overthrows Rick Upchurch. Oh, he did, too. And Robinson went down. Julius Adams in there popping Robinson as he released the ball. Egloff, number 85, in a tight end for Denver on 2nd and 10. New England showing blitz. Uh-oh. And he saw the flag go as Jim Jensen goes over the right side. It was Julius Adams defensively for New England who stepped offside. Mike Hawkins made the stop on Jensen downfield after Jensen had picked up about 7 yards. This will be an interesting decision on the part of Denver. Do they take the yardage gain by Jensen, or do they take the 5-yard penalty and maintain a first down?
By the way, Frank, we're told Rizzo has a strained left knee. What that portends for the rest of tonight and for the future, in fact, remains to be seen.
I think that's one of the telltale signs of Denver this year. You're seeing that defense, which has been their strong suit for so many years, gradually being picked apart a little bit, and unfortunately through injuries, most of them, with Alzado leaving a couple of years ago. But coordination is the key.
Offside. Number 85 on the defense. Still second down.
Number 85 on the defense is Julius Adams. He marks the ball at the 48-yard line. Second down and 5. Otis Armstrong, he's piled up at the line of scrimmage. He might have squeezed a half a yard out of it, but a swarming Denver, or rather New England defense, led by Steve Nelson and Julius Adams in on the stop. It'll be third down and 5.
You're seeing Kelvin Clark, 73, in on the offensive line for the Broncos now. And the reason, and he was the top draft choice a couple of years ago, the reason he's in there now is because Red Miller was so dissatisfied with Studdard's play last week.
Moses split to the right, Dick Upchurch to the left. Upchurch had been open earlier on this series. Robinson overthrew. Robinson trying to get the ball off, and he is sacked. Good defense. Tony McGee, Mac the sack they call him. He got help from Richard Bishop.
Bishop is coming in that obvious passing situation. That time you're right. McGee just made a real quick move to the outside. Robinson tried to step up. No place to go.
Tony McGee led New England in sacks 5 consecutive years. He alternates with Mel Lunsford coming in on the sure pass. Right now we'll see Luke Prestige, the punt for Denver. Roland James settles in back around his 13-yard line. There he is. Prestige looking for the sideline. And he'll get it inside the 20. In fact, they'll mark it right at the 20-yard line. So New England will have the football at the 20-yard line. They have 9 minutes and 2 seconds remaining in the first half. They have a lead of 10-7. Brockport, I meant Brockton, Massachusetts. Home of the Rocky one. On first and 10. New England. The ball hands off to Ferguson, and Ferguson kicks the long line of scrimmage, gets a couple. It'll be second down and 8.
He's an intelligent runner, isn't he, Dandy?
You have done a wonderful job with him, I think, by the way. You really have. You got that boy playing really well.
Let's pause quickly 5 seconds to allow our stations to identify themselves.
WUHQ-TV, Battle Creek, Kalamazoo.
New England comes up looking over a second down and 8. 8:32 remaining here in the first half. New England on top 10-7. Denver got on the scoreboard first. New England came back with a field goal, and they just added a touchdown to take the lead. Grogan going to Jackson, and a spectacular catch for a first down. No, they're saying, yes, they're going to give it to him.
Absolutely.
He was in. One referee was indicating out of bounds. One said no, he's got it.
They call him Axton Jackson from Discotheque. Watch him make this move.
It's his 507th career reception.
Frank, you were talking, he's never missed a ball game because of injury.
Never. He's played in 163 games. It's coming up 13 years ago.
He rooms with Chuck Foreman. They're a tremendous pair. He's got a great say. He said, you tell your friend Klosterman he thought I was through. I've only just begun.
They mark it inside the 36-yard line. First and 10 New England. This is Vegas Ferguson. Big John Hanna in front.
Yeah.
But it was coming in behind Rob Nairn to make the stop for Denver. It'll be a loss of 3. Second down, 13.
Our friend Nairn is getting a lot of calls tonight. Hey, Howard, how about Hagler?
Well, how about it, Howard?
I'm just glad, fellas, that Marvin Hagler was protected by the British Bobbies, who did a great job. They carried him out of that ring bodily. One of the most disgraceful exhibitions of fan violence I have ever seen.
I was wondering who was protecting you down there.
Nobody.
Oh, no.
Oh, come on. Emmy must have had an umbrella over you.
Emmy wasn't there. Charlie Lavery of ABC Sports was under the table. Go ahead.
Second down, 14. Grogan with a lot of time. And he is running on a very sore knee. And nevertheless, he gets out to the 45-yard line, close to a first down.
That's the extra dimension of Steve Grogan.
But I would wonder, though, Howard, here he is hurt. He knows he's hurt. So he doesn't make that extra 2 or 3 yards. He could have gotten out of bounds, it appeared to me, that time without being hit. He picked up a couple more yards, but he got hit.
You know, frankly, I think it's one of the things that's troubled Grogan. He has got a lot of talent. And over the past 4 years, he has really felt that he had to do it all. It's one of the things a quarterback has got to learn. He's got some troops out there with him, and Grogan has been trying to do everything himself over the years, and he's really settled into using his troops in the proper way, and he is off to a great start. Third down, less than a yard to go for the first. And it's a play-action reverse to Morgan with the great speed, and Morgan Did not use the speed, but he gets the first down out close to the 47-yard line.
As you look at that picture, you see Golick, number 51. You're going to see more and more of him in the games to come, and probably more and more of him in the second half. He is a super athlete. He happens to be a Notre Dame, an All-America. Last year, he had to sit out the whole year. So, in effect, he is a first-year man. They have 6 rookies on the squad in addition. But remember Bob Golick, linebacker.
New England doubled on their first possession tonight, but they have put it together here in the second quarter. This is Vegas Ferguson.
Good move right there, too.
Ferguson again with a great acceleration. Gets 6, maybe 7 as he gets down into Denver territory at the 47. Reuben Carter sliding out to make the stop defensively there for Denver.
I have made a convert in Mr. America. He is fond of Ferguson's talent.
Any boy of yours is going to be a friend of mine. What can I tell you?
I am told, Frank, that we hope to have Holmes and Ali on at halftime, live from Las Vegas.
I like the way you put it, Holmes and Ali. Hasn't Holmes been complaining about the Billy? He's right. Second down and 3. A double reverse. This was going to be a flea flicker, and Grogan knocked off his feet. This is Harold Jackson. He has blockers. He was supposed to lateral that ball back to Grogan, who was going to throw it. Grogan got knocked off his feet, and Jackson turns it into a first down at the 31.
Jackson did it again.
And if you're looking, Don Klosterman, Jackson is not through.
Watch Grogan. He'll get knocked off. He was supposed to drift back. Jackson was going to lateral it to him. Grogan's off his feet there. There he is.
Grogan tried to throw a block on Tom Jackson, and he tried to get up and try to throw another one. Harold Jackson says, wait a minute, I'll just take this thing out.
Look at Calhoun with that block.
They all picked it up.
61. What a team effort.
And there is a injured Denver Bronco at the 33-yard line. Jackson gets the first down to the 31-yard line. That is Rob Nairn now on his feet. Says he's all right, and we'll be back in a moment. Denver's Rob Nairn is all right. He stays in the lineup, and Harold Jackson has turned a broken play that appeared to be a flea flicker into a first down at Denver's 31-yard line with 5:29 and the second ticking away here in the second quarter. Grogan on the first down through the air. Feels the pressure, moves out of the pocket. Throws it in their crowd and is picked off.
Good
Jim Ryan has the football. Ryan is filling in for the injured Rizzo. Comes up with the interception for Denver, and this is the way Denver has played football for the past 4 years. They live on the break and they make the road.
A big play.
I think you could see that Grogan said, no, I made a mistake. Shouldn't have thrown that one. This kind of happens, too, sometimes when you're maybe giving a little bit to an injury. I would imagine ordinarily would have run with that ball. Says, no, I'm going to try to protect my injury. Threw right into a crowd, and Ryan made a good move, moved in front, picked it off.
He made a good move, but Bryson Manna pressured Grogan, and he deserves a lot of credit for the errant throw.
Denver on first down. Robinson to Armstrong, and Armstrong turns the corner and gets out over the 42 to the 43-yard line. Gain of 6. It'll be second down and 4. Steve Nelson on the stop defensively for New England. And there, let's take a look at this young man. He's in there because Rizzo was hurt. Jim Ryan, a second-year man out of William and Mary. Denver got him as a free agent last year. Showed a lot of speed. Second down and 4. They mark it closer to the 43 than the 42. Inside handoff, the big man. Jensen gets the call, and Jensen tries to stretch forward for the first down. He's close to it. Bob Golick in now, number 51 defensively for New England. Out comes John Zamberlin.
Told you you'd see more Golick, Frank, and he's only just begun.
Denver gets the first down. 4:24 on the clock, and the clock is moving. The Patriots over Denver 10-7. Very important game for these two teams. They have leaders in their division, both of which are undefeated. Buffalo and San Diego. And a movement by Matt Robinson draws off Julius Adams. That'll be a procedure call against Denver. Pair of flags down.
You got Otis Armstrong jumping a little bit early back there, too.
You hear anything from Floyd Little?
No, I haven't. Have you?
Well, he studied law, didn't he? And he's a very important man in that.
False start. Number 17 of the offense. Still first down.
Matt Robinson moving away from the center. Down remains the same. It'll be 1st and 15, and they move the ball back inside the 42 of Denver. They got Church, the speedy one for Denver. Straight out to the left. There he is, bottom of your screen. Out to the right is Haven Moses. Flag is down as Robinson tries to cram it into a crowd to Riley Odom.
Yes, good coverage back there.
Mistaken throw.
Mike Hawkins stepped in front of that ball and deflected it away. And holding will be called against Denver.
Almost inevitable when you back that long and they got to protect you.
When you think what they've done, they just keep moving themselves further and further back in the hole. These guys are at good field position. Score is 10-7, only 3 points back. They've got to make some moves now to get there.
Holding. Number 71 on the offense. Still first down.
Big Claudia Minor over in the right tackle spot. Holding for Denver. The down remains the same. Right now we have a first down and 25. The ball all the way back inside Denver's 32-yard line. New England staying in their 3-4. Probably thinking in terms that's right of a draw or a quick handoff and piled up at the line of scrimmage. No gain. Armstrong the carrier. So it'll be second down, and we'll call it 24. Bottom of that pile, Ray Hamilton. Short. Many thought he would never be able to play when he came up as a 14th round draft pick in 73. As I mentioned earlier, this was his 106th consecutive start tonight. 6'1", 245-pounder, and he's a good nose man. This is Sam Hunt. Sam Hunt, who was cut earlier, at the same shape and form as Ray Hamilton. Moses in motion. Armstrong over Rob Little, and he's dropped by a hard-charging Julius Adams. That was Rob Little, and he is dropped all the way back to the 25.
I think he's had that one figured out, as they say.
Yes.
Good. Held it.
New England looks like a team that's about ready to come on, to play up to its personnel. I talked with Ray Berry about that, the receivers coach, the very great one from the Colts heyday today, and he said, yes, he had the same feeling. They're a spirited team, much more so than they were a year ago, after the Chuck Fairbanks debacle.
Lytle stays in with Jim Jensen. Robinson looks over a third down and 31. Lytle again. Former All-American for Michigan. Pounds out to the 35-yard line. Close to the 36. It'll be fourth down, and Denver will have to turn it over as we head close to the 2-minute warning.
Very conservative offensive play.
Well, New England should have stopped that clock, but they let it run down.
Yeah, the last 3 times ran into the middle of the line.
Well, I guess the way they thought it was going, they're going to be in their own end zone if they weren't careful. 2-minute warning. We'll be back in a moment. Denver went on top early in the going, getting on the scoreboard first. New England came back, answered with a 26-yard field goal by John Smith. And then, aided by a tremendous catch by Russ Francis, a couple of penalties, they powdered in from 2 yards out Vegas Ferguson, putting New England on top, as you see, 10-7. Roland James now on fourth down, drops for New England. Positions himself about the 25-yard line. Luke Prestridge will punt away for Denver. Prestridge, certainly the biggest punter in the league, around 6'5". Prestridge and goes over to the corner, taken there quickly by Brown, and Brown, or rather Roland James, and James out to the 22-yard line. And on the clock, 1:50, and New England has 3 timeouts. Stanley Morgan, flip to the right, Harold Jackson out to the left. Denver, thinking pass. Hasselbeck in motion. Draw play, Vegas Ferguson. Up to the line of scrimmage, ekes out a yard, it'll be second down and 9. 1:38, and the clock ticking away, the seconds here in the first half. Grogan, apparently seemingly in no rush to get in and out of the huddle. And New England on top, 10-7. Jackson on 29, top of your screen. Stanley Morgan, bottom of your screen, 86. Second and 10. Flag is down. Grogan hangs it up for Hasselbeck. Right in the money. And Hasselbeck, who's been spectacular, has the ball inside the 35-yard line. But again, a flag is down at the line of scrimmage. And Bernard Jackson in there defensively. Steve Foley came up with the football. But let's see the call back at the line of scrimmage.
Coming back.
Against New England.
He's not happy, and you can understand it. When you've got 2 tight ends, not 1, but 2 like Francis and Hasselbeck, boy, what weapons.
Well, Hasselbeck got to play quite a bit more than he has been because of Francis's injury. And the coach, Raymond Berry was the guy who saw it. He said, man, he's really developed into a very, very top defense, tight end.
Illegal motion. Number 80 of the offense. Still second down.
That's how he got down there so fast.
Hasselbeck,
Yeah, Hasselbeck just hustled on down there.
that negated a 45-yard gain. Hasselbeck with 6 receptions, having replaced Francis when Francis damaged his ribs in the opening game against Cleveland. He has 6 receptions. 3 of those, however, were for touchdowns. Won the game winner last week against Seattle. 1:02 on the clock. New England with a second down and 15. Ball at their 17-yard line. Jackson in motion. This is Vegas Ferguson. Ferguson just stays on his feet out to the 30-yard line. Strong running by this 194-pound rookie out of Notre Dame. Jim Ryan in on the stop defensively for Denver.
You would think that their offensive philosophy is they're really trying to protect that 3-point lead. He tried Ferguson first with a run and no avail, threw deep to Hasselbeck. Came back with a penalty, kept it on the ground again. Now his third down is short.
Frankly, I don't understand it either. He has 3 timeouts, and the seconds are ticking down. We have less than a half a minute remaining in the half. Ferguson. Big gun ahead out. Front block. Flag is down again. Ferguson close to a first down. Larry Evans, 56 for Denver, in on the stop, along with Bill Thompson.
I think I saw a clip that time.
You saw it.
Well, Ron Earhart apparently yelled to Grogan, just run out the clock.
He just said it right there. Run it out. That was it. Run it out.
Well, it is chilly up here.
Well, now I can see that because there's only 20 seconds to go, but it was a different situation about a minute.
Well, they had 2 minutes to play. I don't understand it. That's negative rather than positive.
Well, maybe, but maybe just...
Ferguson up there close to a first down. They'll bring in the sticks for a measurement.
I think I heard 80 on a clip. They got Hasselbeck. Hasselbeck was trying to make up that half-step speed that he needed on the play before. This time he's improving his blocking technique.
You folks must know who that man is, yes. Number 84. One of the greatest wide receivers of our time. Struck down in the Tatum incident. Became a quadriplegic. He's fighting back. One of the most remarkable human interest stories. Recently had a birthday. God bless you, Darrell. You've got more than most of us could ever touch.
Glad to see you, Darrell.
Yeah, you bet.
Denver called for the measurement. They wanted to see if it would be 4th down. It would have been a first down, so they take the clipping penalty, and that moves New England back to the 15-yard line. 20 seconds remaining in the half. 6th penalty now against New England for 55 yards. Third down, 17. Calhoun gets the call. Gets back to the 20-yard line. Denver wants to stop the clock, and they do with 11 seconds remaining in the half. Denver hoping to block the punt on 4th down. Possibly get a return out of bounds where John Smith might be able to attempt a field goal. So it's 4th down and 12. And out comes the punting unit for the New England Patriots. We'll be back after this message from the National Football League.
I want you to meet Carroll, a happy person, enjoying an out.
NFL's all-time punt return leader. That, of course, one of the reasons Denver stopped the clock with 11 seconds remaining in the first half on 4th down. They wanted to see if Mike Hubach, a rookie out of Kansas, could get the punt away, and if he does, then Rick Upchurch run it back. Hubach, 11th round draft pick out of Kansas. Denver playing for the run back. Hubach, a pressure punt, and a fair catch called for at the 37-yard line. 3 seconds remaining on the clock.
Well, they don't have much of a shot, but they had a little shot. That could have been a big mistake by New England. Seems to be a little scuffle down on the field.
And, of course, for Denver, I would say the one thing to do is just to hang it up there the best you can. Hope you get an interference call. And, of course, the half cannot end on a defensive foul. Denver has the ball at their own 37-yard line. They have brought Fred Steinfort into the game. Now, we have told you about Steinfort for Denver. He kicked one against Dallas of 55 yards. But I don't think Steinfort's foot could reach this.
Now, that might be asking a little bit too much.
Well, of course, you do. After a fair catch, you get a free kick.
Free kick time.
You have an option to put the ball in play, either from scrimmage or as a free kick. You don't see this very often. Matt Robinson will hold. He can either punt it or attempt the field goal, and this one is going to be from the 37-yard line. A tremendous distance for anyone.
Why wouldn't the holder be offside?
73-yard attempt. And, of course, along the ground, taken there by New England. Tim Fox running it out. And, of course, time has expired in the first half. So the Patriots, in front of a hometown crowd, are leading the Denver Broncos 10-7. Stay with us for halftime action. As we get ready now for the second half, Steve Grogan, as we have talked about earlier, playing on a very sore knee tonight. He practiced only once this week, and that was last night. Those his stats on the evening, comparable to the ones that he has chalked up in the first 3 games, passing for over 60%, 8 touchdowns coming into tonight's play. Steve Grogan with the hot hand thus far in the early season for New England. Of course, as we told you also at the beginning of the telecast, activated tonight, Richard Bishop, the fine defensive lineman for New England, who had been holding out throughout the preseason and the first 3 games, as was Mike Haynes, their brilliant cornerback. They have seen spotted action thus far this evening, still holding out, and that's with New England, Sam Cunningham and Tom Owen. Set to go now. Not a sellout crowd, but close to it. And Fred Steinfort sets it up for the Broncos. Deep is Preston Brown, number 87 for New England. The rookie 6th-round draft pick from Vanderbilt takes it at the 4. And finds an opening and almost breaks it and gets out to the 30-yard line. For New England will have good field position. Tackled there by Larry Brunson. There they are. ABC.
ABC.
The kid who just returned that kickoff, Frank, was very highly regarded early in the preseason. Suddenly he got shaky. Right there on that return, he looked like the kid they regarded highly in the very beginning.
All through the preseason, Preston Brown had looked spectacular. Then he started misjudging balls, and now he appears to be back on his side. Gets good field position on 1st and 10. Grogan looks over the Denver defense, hands off to Vegas Ferguson. Ferguson stays on his feet, and he'll lose about a half a yard. Nailed there by Larry Evans, defensively number 56, and number 53, Randy Gradishar.
After the first quarter, New England dominated. Earlier, they had been about even in stats and possession time. But there you see the Pats dominating, Don.
They really did. They picked it up in the second quarter.
but they didn't capitalize as much as they should have.
New England once again coming into tonight 2-1 on the season. They beat Cleveland in their opener. They lost to Atlanta, and then they beat Seattle last week. Denver's 1-2. They lost their opener to Philadelphia. They beat Dallas, and then they lost to San Diego big last week, 30-13. Second down and 11. Grogan on a rollout. And again, he's running on a very sore knee, and Grogan sprawls forward out over the 35 to the 37-yard line. Short of the first down by a couple. It'll be third down and 2.
Really unusual. Frank, that was a call play. You can see he really didn't keep the option of a pass in it. He just tucked that ball under his arm and took off. Fake to Calhoun. Fake to Ferguson.
I hate to get too clinical about it, but last Monday he had 60 cc's of fluid removed from his right knee, a knee that underwent surgery a couple of years ago. He's running around like a kid out there. Third down, long 2. Ball marked at the 37-yard line. New England on top, 10-7. Earl Jackson in motion. Ferguson. Ferguson is nailed before he can get back to the line of scrimmage. Bryson Manor in there first for Denver. And Denver saying we've got the football. It's in the big palms of Reuben Carter, and they do get it. Ferguson trying to stretch forward. Popped it up.
Did not see that fumble at all, but Reuben must have... let's see. We'll take it again. Let's see what happens.
Bryson Manor there first, 66.
There it goes. You're right. Big fumble. And it just wound under... Reuben says, I feel something funny under my stomach. Now, wait a minute. What is it? It's a football.
I didn't like the way New England closed out the half, and I didn't understand that series of calls.
Denver has the first down. New England territory at the 38-yard line. Jensen 30. Otis Armstrong 24. The setbacks working with the young quarterback Matt Robinson. This is Armstrong. And Armstrong hit hard at the 32-yard line, but not until he picks up 6. It'll be second down and 4.
Looks like the old Otis Armstrong. He, of course, was drafted when Floyd Little was still there. And I remember what Floyd said. I'll welcome him if he can block. Well, he could block.
And he could run.
Over 1,400 yards in 73. His second season. Then in 74, he was 1,000 yards once again. Second down, 4. Armstrong once again. Lunsford holds on at the 30. Short of a first down. It'll be third down and 2. Defensively for New England, Mel Lunsford, Ray Hamilton, Julius Adams. They'll also bring in Tony McGee, number 78, as their designated pass rusher. Their linebackers are Hawkins, 59, Nelson, 57, Zamberlin, 54. And right now we see Tony McGee come into the lineup. Usually, New England is anticipating pass. They have marked the ball at the 31, so it's third down and 3. Moses in motion. Wide open. Haven Moses. A blown defensive assignment, and Moses gets inside the 10. Inside the 9, where it'll be first down and goal.
That had to be a blown assignment. The man was in splendid isolation.
Well, he really was. But coming into this game, both of these teams ranked very low in the defensive standings. You've got, I think I'll have to agree, there's somebody's supposed to be out there with Haven. That guy in motion has been very effective because all it takes is one defensive back to think he's checked off to another defensive back and miss it. And you got him on the move.
First down inside the 9, and Matt Robinson wants to put it in the air. Trying to go to Moses, incomplete. It'll be second down and goal.
Volatile fellow, Red Miller.
He's a what?
Volatile
fellow. Being, he can go up and down.
Emotionally
up and down. Yeah.
Ron Earhart.
These two guys coached together at one time. The New England Patriots didn't take too kindly to the treatment they received a year ago in Denver. They seemed to think Denver rubbed their defeat in on them a little bit.
Second down and goal. Moses out to the right. Armstrong gets the call. And Armstrong breaking tackles into the end zone. Otis Armstrong running brilliantly tonight. and Denver is going to go out on top. There's a smile.
All right.
Just like we drew it up in late July when we started this whole thing off.
The thing that really happened, Frank, is it was drawn up well, but Otis Armstrong made a great effort on the outside. There's Fox coming there. Fox gets a good hit, bounces off, keeps his feet. Great effort by Armstrong.
A lot of guys had their shot at him.
Hawkins missed, Fox missed, Golick missed. Steinfort for the conversion. It's good. And Denver has retaken the lead here at Foxborough. They lead the Patriots 14-10 early here in the third quarter. We'll be back. Armstrong facing the Denver attack has put the Broncos out in front of the New England Patriots. Armstrong, 75 yards thus far in the night. We look at Preston Brown for New England at the goal line. The rookie from Vanderbilt. Steinfort hits it. Taken there by Don Westbrook. And Westbrook struggled out to the 22-yard line where New England will have their first down.
The 75 yards you mentioned for Armstrong just about doubles the 38 yards gained by Ferguson, the leading ground gainer for New England, Frank.
And both of them tough sledding tonight. Neither one big. They're both about the same size, a little over 6 feet, a little over 190 pounds apiece.
Birds lead the Bo Sox 4-3 in the 7th on Eddie Murray's 2-run homer. They won the first.
Brogan comes back out with the same lineup that opened the game. And on first down, quickly to the air. Fires over to the middle of Calhoun. Calhoun cuts it back to the 30-yard line. Gain of 8 will be second down and 2. Larry Evans, 56, defensively there for Denver. Traveled a long way from the Mile High City.
That's cute, though.
They've got some great fans out there, Denver. I'm surprised that some of them didn't show up here. They could maybe take the foliage tours through Vermont.
We'll be out there in a couple of weeks for Denver and Washington.
Right.
I'll slide up and do some sliding. Second down and 2. Vegas Ferguson, right side, cuts back, first down, got it on the 34-yard line. Again, Larry Evans, number 56, with the initial hit for Denver, but it's first down New England.
Putting the game in perspective, the curious and curiously conservative New England strategy cost them. They blew a potential opportunity in the first half in their initial series, which resulted in a turnover, a mistake, gave Denver its shot. Let's see if they can recapture them a minute.
Brogan has the setback. 44, Calhoun. Ferguson, 43. That's Ferguson in motion. Brogan comes back with the screen. The flag is down. Calhoun has the football. Steps out of bounds. Loss of about 1.5 yards. But again, a flag is down. It was Tom Jackson who read the screen beautifully for Denver and slid over and got right in the middle of it. Manor pointing to Red Miller. It's going to be against New England, he's indicating, and it is.
They almost outfancied themselves that time. They had Ferguson out in front. He was going to be a lead blocker off the motion series, and I think they just didn't get it off with the proper timing.
Referee Red Cashin with the call.
Illegal shift by the offense. 2 men moving at the same time. Penalty is declined. It's second down.
Absolutely.
You can only do that in Canada.
Huh.
There was a loss of a couple of yards, so it'll be second down. Well, make it second down and 13.
It's a
Ball
big
at the 31-yard line. Wide receivers, of course, Harold Jackson, 29. Stanley Morgan, 86 for New England. Brogan, again. Good protection, and he overthrows Russ Francis. Defensively, Louis Wright was back there, but Brogan had him for a moment.
It had to be a good throw because Louis Wright was right on him. I think Grogan overthrew that one. If anything, he says, I'm going to miss him long. Wright was right on his hip pocket.
It's a very important series for the Pats, even though it's still relatively early in the third quarter and there's so much time. This was when New England wanted to reestablish the domination that they had shown throughout most of the second quarter.
Specialty units come on passing situation, 3rd and 13. Andy Johnson, 32. Chuck Foreman, 22. The setbacks now for Grogan. Good receivers, both of them. Grogan has the time. He has the man. He's wide open at the 48-yard line. Fired that into Stanley Morgan.
Now that's coming through.
Really is. This is where that three-man front line can really get you in trouble. There's two schools of thought. I always believe you don't give the quarterback much time. Try to put some pressure on him. As you pointed out, he had great time that time. They never did even get close to him. And the defensive people just can't cover him that long, particularly a guy like Stanley Morgan.
Came into the night averaging a little over 30 yards per reception. Had 7 receptions coming into the night. And 4 of them have been turned into touchdowns. He's caught 2 tonight. 2 key first downs on those receptions. Calhoun breaks to the outside and finds a gap and gets down to close to the 45-yard line. It'll be a gain of 7. It'll be 2nd and 3. Louis Wright in there defensively for Denver, along with Randy Gradishar.
Good job by Calhoun bouncing out to the outside there. It's kind of closed up in the middle, found some room to the outside, picked up a nice gain.
That John Hanna is one of the great players in this league. There's nobody better.
His little brother is growing up down there in Tampa Bay, Charlie Hanna.
He's learning. Since they shifted him to the offense, he's doing a much better job.
2nd down, along to the ball at the 45-yard line of Denver. Grogan through the air. We want 6. This is Morgan.
He ought to have it.
Got it. Touchdown, brilliantly thrown, and the great speed of Morgan let him outrun Steve Foley.
Now that's why Grogan's become a quarterback, John. That's what we discussed. That's touch. He never used to be able to loft the ball that way.
I love that shot, too, because nobody appreciates a guy like Morgan more than a guy like Grogan. It's, again, not too bad a coverage. You started off just right again. He had great time to throw the ball. You see Steve Foley, fairly close, but nobody can really stay with Morgan if you give him that much, a 50-yard run. He's going to beat him most every time. That ball was beautifully thrown, dropped right over the head, and a terrific catch.
His 5th touchdown reception. He's only caught 10 on the year. Half of them have been turned into touchdowns, all from way out. John Smith with a conversion as New England regains the lead. Seesaw battle. Smith drills it to the uprights. And the Patriots have again taken the lead on the fleet feet of Stanley Morgan. We'll be back. From 45 yards out from Steve Grogan. Mike Hubach sets now to kick off for New England. Deep is Larry Brunson, recently acquired. Hubach having his problems with his kickoff tonight. And it's bobbled there by Mike Harden. Harden piled up at the 15-yard line. New England seems fired up.
Hasselbeck made a nice tackle.
There's the man. High stand.
Let me tell you, his touchdowns have come from 68, 67, 40 yards, 22 yards, and this one for 45.
Right out on the fingertips. Really is amazing.
Tennessee has had tough luck this year, losing by a point to Georgia and by 3 points to Southern Cal in the final second. Morgan said, if I could go back there, I could give Johnny Majors an unbeaten season.
Setback to Rob Leiter, 41, Jim Jensen, 30. Matt Cavanaugh will try and bring the Broncos back. This is Jensen. Then Matt Robinson, of course, the quarterback for Denver. A handoff there to Jensen. He's piled up after a gain of a yard. Big Jim Jensen, 6'3", 230-pounder. Came to Denver in 77. Missed all of the 78 season with an injury and came back strong with a 400-yard season last year. Denver has their hands full now with a fired-up New England squad. 2nd down and 8. Jensen again. Lines out and stacked up at the 20-yard line. A gain of a yard and a half. It'll be 3rd down and 6.
You're not going to get your team back, gaining a couple of yards on 1st down and a couple of more on 2nd down. You're playing the defensive unit's game that way.
I was a little surprised at the statistics this weekend that these two clubs ranked 12th and 13th in defense in the 14 in the AFC, in the 14th team league. So maybe they see something against that run that we don't see.
Third down, 6. Robinson looking over the defense, set for the pass. Screen to Jensen. Jensen bowling forward. He'll be short of the first down. Out to the 24-yard line. It'll be 4th down. And Denver will have to turn it over. And that, of course, refers to a game played last November the 11th. 45-10. Denver ran it up on New England.
And not only that, when way ahead, they pulled a fake field goal and threw a pass. And the Patriots and their fans are not disposed to forget it.
Here's Prestridge. Roland James for New England. Stations himself at the 38-yard line. Ball goes according to plan. New England should have once again good field position. Low kick. Uh-oh. Flag is down, and James bobbles the ball and is picked up by a Bronco.
Oh, this is going to be a good one. I can hardly wait till this call comes out. Let's see.
Greg Braceland came up with it for Denver, but a flag was down. James floated right up the middle on that low punt and getting up slowly. He was
very gingerly.
See the flag go down. That's where they usually think that's going to be a... What was this?
Everyone's getting into this conference.
They all become thespians at such a moment.
Unnecessary roughness. Number 59 on the receivers. Illegal receiver downfield. Number 54 by the kickers. They'll play it over.
Play it over. Well, Pete Brock was guilty for New England. And Larry Evans for Denver.
Don't you love his face? All those things written. Oh, wait.
Oh, Miller loves to beat the Patriots because, of course, he has coached with the Patriots.
He said, his answer to why he kicked try to do the fake field goal, he said, look, it was at halftime. You know New England's a great second half ball club.
We'll get a shot at the receiver now for New England. That's Mike Haynes, just signed this afternoon at 4 o'clock. And when he came in as a rookie, he led the league in punt returns. He has not been doing that much for the past couple of years, and all this stadium is on their feet, applauding the fact that Haynes is in the ballgame. There he is.
Chuck Sullivan, the exec VP of the Patriots, said bluntly, we can't win without Mike Haynes, when Haynes was still holding out.
Offsetting fouls. We'll have it over again. Roland James shaken up on that punt return, so it's Haynes. Prestridge, this time, will hang it high. Haynes does not call for the fair catch, and he's taken it to the 37-yard line.
That's a little risky, my friend.
Yeah, that's
And again, another discussion. We're going to have illegal receiver, illegal man downfield against Denver. And I would suspect New England would like to try it over again.
There'd be a lot of screaming and yelling when those coaches look at those kicking reels of this game, because those are the mistakes that you're not supposed to make at all. You may make them in the early season, but
would you decline this penalty, Don?
no, I think I'd take and let them kick it again. 2 reasons. They've been the kicking teams out there. They've had to run down the field twice for one reason. Another reason, that's not particularly good field position. And with Haynes back there, as we mentioned, he's capable of doing some great things with that ball if he gets it. So I think it's a good call.
If he's in shape.
Well, he's not tired.
That's the point. Another good point was that kicking team is tired.
Yeah.
Illegally downfield. Number 52 on the offense. Still 4th down.
A rookie from California, Greg Braceland, down there early for Denver. So now Haynes will move up to New England's 45-yard line as Luke Prestridge will be kicking away from about his 7 or 8-yard line. Both teams have been penalized 6 times tonight. There are 5:33 remaining in the 3rd quarter. New England over Denver 17-14. Again, a low kick, the kind you can really run back. Haynes looking for the opening, didn't find it, but he gets to the 47, and New England will have good field position at Denver's 47-yard line. Larry Evans was there defensively for the Denver Broncos.
Well, he had a good inauguration there, Frank Haynes did. He really got scissored.
We'll be back, and New England will be in good field position.
A new quarterback.
Morgan goes left. Out to the right, Harold Jackson. First down.
Had to be a flag again.
Calhoun, and again a flag goes down as Calhoun fights his way for about 5 or 6 yards down to the 41-yard line.
I think it was motion, probably Francis.
Illegal motion.
Back to the 48-yard line.
Penalty moves it back to the 48-yard line. First down, 15. 5:17 remaining in the third quarter. New England 17, Denver 14. That's Russ Francis in motion. Grogan drops it off to Vegas Ferguson, and Ferguson hit at midfield after a gain of about a yard and a yard and a half. Don Latimer made the stop for Denver.
That should be a good game. Freeman McNeil.
Well, they played one last year.
Getting easily. Those guys are.
On second down and 13. Grogan fires over the middle and it's incomplete. Intended it for Vegas Ferguson. He was well covered by Randy Gratishar. It'll be third down and 13.
That was the second mistake he's made today. That pass should not have been thrown. Look at that move. And we're not in Miami.
But beautiful, clear, cool night here in New England.
Just a few. How about moonlight in Vermont?
Why not?
I was there.
We'll have Rosie Greer.
As long as you don't sing it.
Oh, come on, Frank.
Oh, you know I like
Vermont. I went to Vermont. Had a good time.
You make Willie Nelson sound like Mel Torme.
Shake, I'm going to talk to you.
Third down, 13. Grogan to the air once again. Fires for Francis. And in a defensive battle, Bob Nairn was the winner. He knocks it away. And Francis complaining that he was held.
Well, the ball was thrown for Francis to make his move around Nairn to get in there. He never didn't quite get around, you see.
I tell you, Nairn has had a lot of calls tonight.
He's doing all right.
A heck of a game.
That is a nice replay. That was a nice shot.
On fourth down, Mike Hubach will punt for New England. Larry Brunson is back there for Denver. Takes it at the 8. Pounded at the 20-yard line, gets to the 21. 41-yard kick by Hubach. So Denver down 17-14. We'll have a first and 10 at their own 21-yard line. We'll be back. 4 minutes and 14 seconds remaining in the third quarter at Foxborough. Frank Gifford, Howard Cosell, Don Meredith. Cool night. Enthusiastic crowd. The New England Patriots back out on top. Seesaw game. Denver took the lead in the opener. Here in the third quarter, New England has recaptured that lead. Denver with the football. First down. The ball at their own 21-yard line. Robinson runs out of the pocket out to the 25-yard line. Picks up 4. It'll be second down and 6.
There was a major trade, and I mean major, in the National Football League within the last 24 hours. That man, one of the best all-purpose backs in the National Football League, sent by New Orleans to the San Diego Chargers. The very dimension, Frank, that the Chargers so desperately needed to be a super team.
Well, when I heard that trade, I thought, boy, this puts them over the top. They're already 4-0 in the season, and they got the strong running back they've needed. Second down and 6 for Denver. Moses in motion. This is Otis Armstrong. Armstrong runs in to Steve Nelson. Line of scrimmage, get him a yard and a half. It'll be third down and 4.
And another tough cookie named Raymond Claiborne from Texas. He was a teammate of Earl Campbell's. He was another of those first-round draft choices. Super speed, a tremendous player, and a puncher. if you ask a certain sports writer in Boston, whom they punched out and got fined for so doing.
Oh, it was the other way around.
If it was, you've got a scoop. Oh, it may have been reported the other way around.
3rd and 4 for Denver. Rob Lytle in there, number 41, a setback for the Broncos. Play action by Robinson. He tries to run out of the pocket. He's taken by Max the sack, Tony McGee.
Didn't fool Mac, did they?
The 10-year veteran athlete out of Bishop. And he just comes in on pass situation, disregards totally the run, and turns it loose, and he was right in Matt's face.
Probably was reading it. Yeah, they read it. Tom Glassick was the guard pulling out in front. McGee didn't follow that time. Came back out, played in behind Glassick.
Well, that series was a very important failure for Denver because now New England, if they can connect, can build a cushion.
Luke Prestridge on 4th down for Denver, in there to punt. Roland James at the 38, indicating that New England will once again have good field position. Good punt by Prestridge, taken by James at the 30. And a flag is down as James hurdles out over the 40-yard line. 45-yard punt by Prestridge.
Flip.
Here's they caught Bill Matthews. But, you know, New England had a much better field position on their last series of downs, and they didn't do much with it either. I expected them that time to push it in and get another touchdown. If they had that, would have really put Denver in the hole.
But being against New England.
There's Tony McGee.
Last 5 years, he's led New England in sacking quarterbacks. They've had some pretty remarkable years during that period.
Very pleasant guy. Just takes it nice and easy until he goes in for the sack.
Flipping during the run back, number 53 of the receivers. It's 1st and 10.
Bill Matthews flipping for New England. So instead of having the ball out near their own 40-yard line, New England will begin from their 20. They have 2:02 remaining in the 3rd quarter, a 3-point lead. A wildly enthusiastic crowd here in Foxborough tonight. Grogan comes over to the sidelines during timeout. And the crowd goes bananas as he goes back into the game. New England on top, 17-14. Much of it, I think, goes back to that game a year ago when Denver poured it on, defeating New England 45-10. Grogan slips on the rollout and wisely goes down at the 15-yard line. Tom Jackson covering there for Denver. Lost the 5. It'll be 2nd down and 15.
Is that a false turn to booze in one play? I think it is. No, we're going to give you one more chance. Come on now. He's probably the most maligned hometown quarterback in the league right now. The folks in here have a hard time making up their mind whether they like Grogan or not. He's had some hot and cold days.
At our preseason game against the Phils, against the Eagles, they screamed for Kavanaugh. But since the season has started, as I said, Grogan's become a new quarterback.
Jackson out to the right, now in motion. 2nd down, 15. Over the middle, incomplete to Morgan.
That ball was thrown well, thrown very hard. And it looked to be a catchable ball from up here.
Sure it did.
A long way
he was
away.
lucky that it wasn't picked off.
Yeah, those are the kind that you do see picked off an awful lot.
Denver's an opportunistic team. Here's another look, John.
Well, let's just see. I don't know. It just appeared that he said he got a little pressure, threw the ball pretty well. That ball was
Eminently catchable.
eminently catchable. And it really was lucky that the ball was not intercepted. Bounced up, stayed in the air that long. Those defensive backs, great reaction back there ordinarily.
In comes Foreman, 22. Andy Johnson, 32. Both fine receivers. 3rd down, 15 for New England. Grogan, Russ Francis. Will be short of the 1st down.
Another beautifully thrown ball because, again, pretty good coverage that time.
Good hit by Morris Harvey, the 5th man in Denver's backfield.
Harvey was there in front, and behind him, Frank and Larry Evans, the linebacker who's come in, was there in front.
Well, they're going to mark it close enough to measure. I thought he was well short of the 1st. And the crowd, of course.
Harvey hit him back. It was a tremendous one-on-one hit. I don't think he made it.
Yep. Well, what you meant was that you didn't think he made it by much. And he didn't.
Well, nobody's perfect.
Oh, you are too.
Lance is just doing that with his 240 pounds. That's the first down by inches. Back into the lineup for New England comes Vegas Ferguson, 43, Calhoun, 44. Less than a minute remaining here in the third quarter. First and 10 for New England. Francis in motion. And this is Calhoun. Gets away from Bryson Manor, and then Manor pulls into the turf for a loss of a couple. It'll be second down and 12. Bryson Manor, who came in and filled in last year for Lyle Alzado, is not the pass rusher that Lyle Alzado is. Very strong against the run. But what Denver has lacked has been that one lineman out of the 3-4 that they stay in most of the time that can really put the pressure on the opposition when they pass.
Again, Frank, though, he's 4 years in the league. It's still a fairly inexperienced guy. He got some good experience last year, so he's got the potential to develop into one of those good pass rushers.
It's the end of the third quarter. The score, New England 17, Denver 14. We'll be back in a moment. It's a cool, crisp fall evening here in New England, and the Patriots are on top of the Denver Broncos as we begin the fourth quarter, 17-14. Patriots have the football. Ball at the 29-yard line, their own 29, second down and 11. Rogan, a hot hand tonight against a very stubborn Denver defense. Jackson in motion. Rogan forced out of the pocket by Bryson Manor. Down the sideline goes Grogan, and he's pounded at the 35-yard line by Rulon Jones, the rookie from Utah State.
I guess there's just some instincts that you just have a hard time getting rid of. He just doesn't run out of bounds, does he?
Picked up about 6 yards on that attempt, and another flag is down. It's going to be defensive holding against Denver.
That's a big break, but the pass. A kid you just called on, Rulon Jones, Frank. They were counting on him to provide the pass rush, left vacant by the departure of Alzado, but he hasn't done it yet.
Rulon Jones coming as Denver's first pick in the second round. They lost their first pick, acquiring Matt Robinson. They gave up a first and a second for their quarterback, Matt Robinson. This will be an automatic first accompanying this penalty.
Holding by the defense, number 20, first down.
Louis Wright, the cornerback for Denver, holding. The first down is at the 40-yard line as we look at the third quarter stats.
Now the whole edge is in quarterbacks. Rogan over Robinson. And that's the edge in total yardage because in rushing, Denver still leads. Time of possession, New England control.
New England with the football near their own 40-yard line. They have a 17-14 lead. This is Don Calhoun, and Calhoun finds an opening. Moves out for a crisp 6 yards to the 46-yard line. It'll be second and 4. Bryson Manor over there defensively for Denver. Ed Miller coming to the Broncos in 77. He's had them in the playoffs each of the previous 3 years. They had only had 3 winning seasons in the previous 17 years. He's done a superb job. Second and 4. Inside handoff. Calhoun close to a first down at midfield. Put there by Randy Gratishar.
Good, tricky run.
He's a good, solid runner. He's doing it there, making some good yardage. That's 5 yards a clip right there. That's nice when you can do that and rest Ferguson. You know, you don't have Ferguson carry the ball all the time. You need that balance in there.
He has really came to life did Calhoun last week against Seattle.
I like the way he uses Foreman, too. 2nd and long and 3rd down passing situations.
That's true.
Earhart's philosophy was that Minnesota built their whole offense around him. He just wants Foreman to help a little bit. Calhoun again. This time Calhoun goes down. He's hit there by Larry Evans, number 56.
Evans has stepped in and played good ball tonight. He's been around the ball quite a bit. He did Barney Chavis there, number 79 in front of him.
If you weren't with us earlier, Joe Rizzo, the veteran inside linebacker for Denver, went out of the lineup in the second quarter. And of course, Bob Swinson, their outstanding outside linebacker, will not be available until after tonight's game, having been on the injured reserve. Gain of about a half a yard. It'll be 2nd down and 9. The ball just inside Denver territory. Rogan. All right. Goes out to Calhoun. Bob Nairn out there covering, but Calhoun takes it down to the 42-yard line, short of a first down by a couple.
Oh, we've got a big one.
Hey, Calhoun is doing everything that Sam Cunningham did for the Patriots over the last few years. He's catching the ball. He's running it well. Perhaps he's not the blocker that Cunningham is.
They want to trade Sam Bam, but they haven't been able to get what they think they deserve to get for a player of Sam Bam's stature. What puzzles Bucko Kilroy, by the way, is the other holdout, Tom Owen. The kid at home in Wichita. A most respectable quarterback, as you know, Gipper. Kilroy makes the point, how could nobody want Tom Owen? They're signing quarterbacks without his background in the league.
That's Stanley Morgan being carried off the field. He had run a fly pattern all the way downfield. We didn't even see anything occur down there, and he's being assisted from the field now. We'll attempt to get a report from the sidelines as quickly as we can.
They have twisted it going down or cramped.
It appears to be cramps and rubbing both of the calves of his legs. That can really be painful. It should go away after a while.
3rd down and about a yard for the Patriots. Vegas Ferguson. Total disregard for the body. Hurdles down to the 40-yard line. He's close to the first down.
He got it.
Vegas Ferguson, the rookie #1 draft pick for New England, picks up the first down.
And we are told that Stanley Morgan suffered cramps. You know, Bucko Kilroy made the point, Don. He said, how could nobody want Owen, who has had an accomplished record? He's proved himself. And he said, look at Green Bay picking up Pisarkowitz, who did not with the Cardinals.
Bucko may have wanted too much.
1st and 10. Grogan quickly to the air.
I'm telling you, that's
Harold Jackson has a first down inside the 30-yard line.
That was a terrific throw, Frank, as was the one to Calhoun just a play or two before that. Those are those clothesline throws that they say the quarterbacks have got to be able to throw this one. This is that long sideline pattern. No, very few ripples in that ball and right on the money. To Action Jackson.
The other point, Don, they've taken 5 minutes thus far in this drive. So the Pats, even though there are still 12 minutes and 14 seconds remaining, are using the clock.
Grogan now 17 of 23, 210 yards, a touchdown, has 1 interception. And he has the Patriots moving once again. Vegas Ferguson following Calhoun, and down goes Ferguson, turning back to the inside. Gets a yard and a half. It'll be 2nd down and 8.
Hey, you know, Frank, but we forgot that this telecast is presented by the authority of the National Football League. Now, it's intended for the private use of our audience, so any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without, of course, the express written consent of the National Football League, that's prohibited. You can't do that. I'd like to do that.
That's the first time I've heard the disclaimer properly read.
Thank you.
12th play of this drive coming up, so don't you touch our telecast, whatever you do.
All right.
Grogan tries to go deep. Intended for Jackson, and Foley was right with him. There's a fine athlete, Steve Foley, college quarterback at Tulane. A couple of interceptions coming into tonight's game. He gets a lot of business because, frankly, they don't like to go over against Louis Wright on the other side of the Denver defense.
Tulane has a way of producing sleepers in the pro ranks. I remember a very low-round draft choice from Tulane by the Giants, a kid named Bobby Duhan. And that man became an all-purpose player of immense value.
Yeah, one of the tough ones you'll ever meet. Third down and 9. Alice Pennywell, number 88, in there for Stanley Morgan, whom we told you suffered cramps in both legs. He should be back. Rogan will go on top again. Firing for Francis. Overthrown, and Francis is saying, I was held, and a flag goes down.
Well, Francis has been talking to that same referee all night. He said, I tell you, they're holding me.
Larry Evans, 56 for Denver, saying, I was the one that was held.
Pass interference. Number 36 on the defense. First down.
They call it against Bill Thompson, the strong safety for Denver. Number 36.
I was watching Francis as he came off the line. He made a pretty clear move off the line, but you'll see.
You cannot touch that receiver after he goes 5 yards down the field.
Well,
Unless he runs into your path.
I still agree with.
That's why the
With
National
Berkshire,
Football League is
yeah.
scoring so many points. They're way ahead of what they've ever been. Those defensive backs they're just getting beat time and time again. First and goal, the ball inside the 5. Vegas Ferguson.
Oh, that was nice.
Slithering along the ground, he really gets low when he turns for that goal line. Randy Gradishar made the stop, but not until Ferguson had moved down inside the 2-yard line. New England with 11:03 and the clock moving here in the fourth quarter, threatening to extend their lead. Ferguson now 47 yards on 16 really tough carries. He's been used extensively at the goal line and in short yardage has Ferguson. Gets the call again. Battling against Bill Thompson, who's trying to hold him out of the end zone. He gets inside the 1.
Latimer in there on that.
On Earhart.
I think you're right. They should be using Latimer more, Frank.
There's Red Miller. You really can't go against the success this man has brought to Denver. First year there. Took the Broncos to the Super Bowl. Won the Western Division of the AFC and following year and was a wild card in the playoffs a year ago. Third down goal. Ball at the 1. Ferguson in motion. Play action. Rogan will try and run it in. He will not get in. He runs into Rod Nairn first.
He had Hasselbeck so wide open in the end zone.
He really did. This is a very bad series. They've got to settle now for 3.
And Rogan gets up slowly.
Touchdown could put Denver ahead. This is not what they were looking for.
Out comes John Smith. There was a loss of a yard and a half. Matt Cavanaugh will hold for John Smith. So New England, with a first and goal at the 5, has to settle for what appears to be a field goal attempt. A 29-yard attempt by John Smith. To the uprights, another 19-yard attempt.
Notice how carefully Frank said what appears to be a field goal attempt. He said it because Cavanaugh was the holder, and Cavanaugh, of course, is a fine young quarterback.
So Denver is still within a touchdown and a conversion. Will kick off for New England. Larry Brunson is deep for Denver. Brunson settles in at the 5, flips upfield, tries to hit the wedge. And out to the 25-yard line goes Larry Brunson. Young man who led the league a year ago with Oakland on 17 kickoff returns with a 26-yard average. Picked up this past week when Dave Preston went on the injured reserve list for Denver.
Miller stays with the kid, with number 17, Matt Robinson. One might have expected that he'd turn to the veteran.
1st and 10. Denver battling all the way. One of a partisan New England crowd. Otis Armstrong. Armstrong spinning and twisting out to the 29-yard line. Rod Choate and Larry McGrew, the rookie from USC, and they're defensively for New England.
While that might be construed as acceptable yardage on 1st down, it wasn't really. Not at this stage of the game. In fact, I don't think it's really even 4 yards. Well, just about.
2nd down and 6. David Moses in motion. Armstrong runs into the big body of Steve Nelson. Julius Adams was there to finish it off. Maybe the line of scrimmage. That'll be a loss of a yard. Steve Nelson, he is really the leader of this defensive unit.
Give credit to the Birds of Baltimore and to Earl Weaver and his whole team because they're hanging in there. They gained a game on the Yankees, who are idle tonight. The magic number remains at 3, but there are the standings. And no quitting Weaver, I'll tell you that.
Loss in the play of the yard. 3rd down and 7. The ball at the 27-yard line. Moses in motion. Robinson to the air. Goes out into the flat. That'll be short of a 1st down. It's taken by Jim Jensen. It'll be 4th down, and Denver unable to move against New England. Larry McGrew out there.
Very bad series, Sandy. You can't get back in the game that way. You're playing the defensive unit's game when you've got deep long yardage and it's 3rd down.
You get the idea when you look. I think he's only thrown 8 or 9 passes tonight, Denver. You get the idea they certainly came in here with the intention to run. Evidently, they haven't been quite as successful as they had planned, but I would think that what really Denver can do is more of the rollout type passes, get to the outside.
Prestridge hits it for Denver. Roland James forced back to his 28-yard line to take the ball and spilled at the 35-yard line. So New England once again will be in good field position. 40-yard punt by Prestridge, who has not been booming him out of the stadium tonight by any means. 7:49 now remaining in this game. The Patriots over Denver 2014. Errol Jackson exhorting the crowd. Let's hear it, guys, he says. Steps back into the huddle. New England has the football. They have a 17-14 lead, and they have a 1st and 10 near their own 35-yard line. Don Calhoun. Calhoun roars for 9.
Calhoun, they say, Calhoun.
2nd less than a yard for the 1st. Calhoun gets the 1st down. More importantly, New England working on the clock as Calhoun erupts out close to midfield.
Now that's the key point, Frank, because on their last drive, even though they had it settled for a field goal rather than the TD, they used up 7 minutes and 24 seconds on the clock. If they can do similarly here, they've clinched the contest.
Denver very conservative in their offense tonight. Brogan brings the Patriots to the line of scrimmage. Brogan keeps it on the ground. Hands off to Vegas Ferguson over the left side, and Ferguson tripped for about 2, maybe 3. It'll be 2nd down and 8. And the seconds continue to tick off the clock. Ball at the 48-yard line of the Broncos.
What the Pats have to remember is they can't make a mistake. The way Denver's been in those 3 straight playoffs, 3 straight years, is on opportunists, capitalizing on mistakes. And they can still do it.
Both wide receivers, Pennywell and Jackson split to the left. But again, Brogan keeps it on the ground. And Vegas Ferguson, up close to another 1st down. He'll have it at the 40-yard line. Taken there by Roland Jones. A rookie from Utah State, but again, New England has a first down. Inside 6 minutes and the seconds are ticking off. A cool night in New England, 51 degrees at kickoff time.
But not that cold.
Oh, beautiful.
She's a little extreme.
I thought her eyes were really nice.
Ron Latimer comes in defensively.
The other point
for the Broncos.
The other point we should have made, Frank, Denver has always had one great strength, which they proved when they held the Pats to a field goal. Short yardage defense. And they showed it.
Calhoun again finds an opening. He gets down close to the 35 for another 5 yards, and you can see where Denver is really missing Joe Rizzo, who was hurt earlier in tonight's game, and Bob Swinson. When you play a 3-4 defense, you have to have active linebackers that can step in and fill those holes, stop the running game, and right now New England is just pounding and grinding away on the ground and grinding away on the clock. 4:40 and it's moving. Second down and 5. Ball just short of the 35-yard line of Denver. Vegas Ferguson. Ferguson will have it on the first down. He steps out of bounds at the 28-yard line, driven out by Louis Wright. Stopping the clock with 4:28 remaining in the game.
Good shot that time, Frank, of Ferguson following those blockers. You saw him. He's sure not dumb. He knows where to stay, right behind him. Watch him when he comes around the corner here. He's out in front. See Hannah cut off there on the outside. There's a little move. He said, okay. Now it'll bounce out to the outside. Louis Wright had him to the inside. He cut out. He picked up 4 yards on the outside. Good instinct. Good basic running instinct.
Indeed, he has shown that tonight. Rookie number 1 draft pick, Vegas Ferguson from Notre Dame. This time, Brogan uses Calhoun, and Calhoun down inside the 25-yard line. He picks up 3. It'll be 2nd and 7. Randy Gratishar upends Calhoun.
You want balance in an attack, gentlemen?
Yes.
New England, 10 first downs rushing, 9 passing.
So close to balance. Let's call it that. That is good. It's a mixing up. I really think that's what Denver thought they could do. I think they felt they could come in here and run more against New England than they've been able to do tonight.
Second down, 7. Brogan looks it over with the second ticking off. Ferguson. And Ferguson turns back to the inside, getting down close to the 20. They'll mark it at the 21. It'll be 3rd down and 3. Larry Evans in there initially for Denver, and looking forward, Denver's really had a tough opening schedule, and next Sunday it doesn't ease up. They go out to play at Cleveland, and Cleveland has it back together again. For New England, they'll play their first divisional opponent. They'll be against the Jets at Shea Stadium in New York. The Jets with all kinds of problems.
Clearly the single most disappointing team in football, considering the quality of that personnel.
Big play for Denver. 3rd down and 3. They have to get the football back. Brogan stays on the ground. Ferguson falls forward, hit by Louis Wright, but he's close to another New England first down.
May not have gotten it.
Well, they are working on that clock again. They got this thing down to almost 2.5 minutes. Ferguson says, I'm beginning to feel it.
Well, the field goal would just about clinch it for the Pats, but they got a kicker.
John Smith is hit earlier from 19 yards out. Lines up. A 36-yard attempt with Matt Cavanaugh holding. 4th down and a yard to go. Smith has it on its way. And it's good. Oh, the ricochet is off good. John Smith, who came in tonight, 5 of 6, has hit for 2 more. 23-14 New England. Yards out. Mike Hubach will kick off. Larry Brunson is deep, and we're going to show you what this looks like from the eyes of Larry Brunson. We'll cover it from the end zone. Brunson at the 10. Looking for the wedge. He finds a small opening out at the 20-yard line and gets forward to the 27-yard line. 2 minutes and 3 seconds now on the clock, and Denver down by 9.
With the precious wisdom of 20/20 hindsight, it can now be said that Denver had an offense that played all night for a fumble.
Oh, man. Well, they are going to open it up right now. He's attempted 7, completed 4. He's working on his percentage of completion.
Steve Watson comes in for Denver, number 81. Now, Robinson will put it in the air. This is Jensen. And Jensen takes it out to the 34-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 4.
Wonder what Craig is thinking.
Well, your esteemed veteran on the sideline usually is brought in situations. However, the 2-minute period is not necessarily his strongest suit, and we'll be back just in a moment to see if that decision is made.
This ran.
A minute and 56 seconds remaining in the game. In Foxborough, New England, looking awfully good tonight. Denver having trouble with their offense. The defense has not played badly, considering they're missing a couple of key elements. Rizzo and Svensson. On 2nd down and 3. Robinson to the air once again. Has to dump it off to Jensen. Jensen slips the tackle and moves out to a 1st down at the 38-yard line. Richard Bishop just activated this afternoon. In there on the stop for New England. A hurry-up offense now on the part of Denver as a second stick away. On 1st down, Robinson to the air once again. Throws it off again to Jensen. Jensen bowls his way for a couple to the 40-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 8.
Frank, as the game winds down, this is important enough to bring up. The Cubs have scored 2 runs in the top of the 15th. They lead the Phils 5-3. Phils at bat. If the Phils lose, the Expos lead by a game and a half.
Denver stops the clock with 1:27 remaining in the game, and a reminder coming up on the West Coast immediately following the telecast. That's incredible.
Really?
That is coming up on the West Coast. And that is incredible. Matt Robinson over to the sidelines, conferring there with coaching staff.
A new offensive coach. A new quarterback coach who has devised a very special passing attack that did not manifest itself tonight. His name is Red Dowhouse.
Rod. Matt Robinson, of course, came to the Broncos in an off-season trade with the Jets. They gave up a 1st and a 2nd-round draft pick for Robinson. He really was initiated last week by the San Diego Chargers. They picked off 4 to Matt Robinson, drove him out of the game, and they brought in Craig Morton. He was respectable, but by that time the Chargers, who had piled up 24 points in the 2nd quarter, crawled all over Craig, and they picked off 2 of his passes. Denver in a very fast league, the Western Division of the AFC. Oakland coming back, and San Diego is there. 2nd down and 8. 2 timeouts remaining for Denver. And down goes Robinson. Tony knocked the sack. McGee again in on the stop.
Well, Robinson's getting a difficult initiation.
He really is. Of course, the defensive line knows that's basically what they're going to do is pass. But before they're giving those tackles, Claudie Miner and Stoddard some trouble, I'll tell you. They're coming at them with outside moves. Bishop's going to certainly help, but he's back in playing condition in the middle.
And this time it is Richard Bishop who crawls in, and
He is back.
rains all over Matt Robinson.
He is back. What sold Red Miller on Matt Robinson? One particular game. Denver leading the Jets at Mile High Stadium 28-7. Matt Robinson consistently beating the double zone, hitting Wesley Walker. The Jets came back and won that game. From that point on, Red Miller wanted Matt Robinson.
And he's got him.
Denver uses another timeout, and the New England Patriots linemen are all hugging Richard Bishop out on the field.
It's so much more effective when you get that second guy, big guy in the middle. Of course, you got Ray Hamilton, 71, but you let Bishop come into the other side. That's an awful lot to handle in the middle. As we mentioned earlier, you had the outside guys were doing their job. So then you get them from the inside and the outside. There's no pocket for that quarterback to step up in. Once again, supposedly Robinson's major ability is his ability to scramble and be able to throw on the run. It seems they're really not put that particular style of passing into their offense.
That happens to be a truly perceptive comment. Mr. Meredith.
Thank you.
Tells the story of the diminution of Robinson's talent, the way they're using it.
I knew you'd been slipping. I just didn't know for sure why. That's what it was.
1:12 remaining, and Denver can stop the clock one more time. Right now they're looking over a 4th down and 24. And in all probability, they're not going to want to stop the clock. Robinson dances out of trouble, hangs one up, presumably looking for a foul. He gets, instead of a foul, the interception. Picked off there by Rick Sanford, one of those #1 draft picks. He came up a year ago out of South Carolina. And that should be it. With 1:02 on the clock, New England has the football again. And Matt Robinson having a very tough night against a very stingy New England defense. We'll be back in a moment. I wish we could come back a little earlier now. 2 or 3 times we've been away. Harold Jackson's been out there exhorting these fans. They're all up on their feet, and he's leading the cheering. Steps back into the huddle, the 13-year veteran.
I tell you, he's out there like the Music Man with the 76 trombone. Big parade.
Clock-killing offense, if you're wondering what that is. They're all hunkered up in there on 1st down. Denver has 1 timeout. They'll probably use it.
Immaterial.
They stop the clock with 57 seconds. And Steve Grogan will move over to the sideline.
I say this, Frank. I don't know how you feel about it. I think New England has just tremendous personnel. And though they've won this game, there's Tony McGee. Hi, guy. I still don't think they've played up nearly to the quality of that personnel. I don't know why.
I'd have to agree with him, and I have a feeling that this might be the year they will. This young man walking back into the huddle has really got himself off to a good start. He was a 49% passer a year ago, erratic, sometimes brilliant. Other times he would make the mistake as he tried to do things that no one could really do. Look at those stats for the night.
Someday hi, Ron, I don't blame you for being happy.
He keeps that kind of play going. You can better believe it's going to help the entire ball club. Defensively, they've got Haynes back, they've got Bishop back. And while they could use Cunningham, Calhoun, who has performed brilliantly tonight, is not that far behind Sam Cunningham. Steve Grogan falls on the ball, and the seconds will tick down. They'll need to run one more play. And this one will go into the history book, and New England will go 3-1, a game behind Buffalo in their division. Denver will drop well behind San Diego, which is undefeated. They will be 1-3, and there is an owner who has struggled with this franchise over the years.
I'll tell you he did.
In many ways, Billy Sullivan.
I tell you he did. In 1974, he lost control of the franchise, and with it went so much of his life. They got control back, the Sullivans did. He went through the Fairbanks episode. He's a fine man.
And that will be the final play. And New England will win this football game, defeating Denver. Avenging a defeat of a year ago at the hands of Denver in Denver, 45-10. Congratulations being bandied about on the field. Red Miller heading to the locker room. Once again, our final score, New England 23.